What's up? It's early morning. And I'm going to continue to use this until it's little tiny pieces. Should probably get online today and find what I'm going to use next for a coarse abrader, because this thing's getting very ridiculous. Very ridiculous. It's most ridiculousness. The other little piece like this already broke into tiny pieces. So this is officially the most extensively that I have ever used a coarse abrader. All right. The sun's just now coming up. Strange. Okay, and it's gonna stay in there. Oh, that didn't look real great. I mean, I knew I was way overpower smacking that thing, but I figured it might still work. I'm glad that was in my glove and not my finger. That would have not been very fun. I wonder if I've been in the camera. Sorry, I have not been paying attention. Okay, well, we got a little nub here that is refusing absolutely refusing to be cooperative. It continues to refuse. Well, it did a thing. Kind of dove in a little bit. Either way, it definitely turned the angle down and put it on this side into that ridge. Whoa. Turn the angle down and put it onto this ridge, which is what I wanted. You can see it's definitely on that side of the imaginary, not so imaginary because it's pretty straight center line. Okay. Doesn't mean it's going to work out like I want it to. Just means it's down there. Oh, I thought it broke there for a second. Felt like it in my hand for some reason. It went up and over it, that's for sure. Right over it. Guess we should do something with this. It's just like a thick end with cortex on it that I am going to begin to zigzag the pattern. Dang. I dove in. That's right. I've got the opportunity to come at this from the side here. So I shot the flake in from the end. It dove into that ridge, but over here I've got a low spot running right along a ridge next to it. So I'm gonna smack that thing. There's a burr on my tool, so that's why I spun it. Dang, bro. Well, I'm gonna work my way back to it real quick. Because that'll just help it to angle a better, more towards it direction. It didn't want to let go a second ago. Now it's a little closer to that side. And it gives it a little bit more angle for this tool to sit on top of there. There we go. Is that not right? I mean, it looks right. I'm pretty sure it's right. There it goes. Probably gonna clean that up with pressure. But I'll probably run another pass of flakes over this ridge on that angle, that platform there, all the way across it, really. Whoa, those were a lot deeper than I thought that they were gonna be. Well, maybe I can hit this one. Okay, that's probably a no. Maybe I can clip this from the side, and if I can, then maybe I can do that. Okay, however, I still need to finish this little cortex area here. That's really how we got down that whole rabbit hole in the first place. So. Okay. Gloves are such a wonderful technology. Who would have thought? Animal skin. Please don't snap. Well, this is getting harder and harder to hold the smaller it gets. It didn't quite work out how I hoped it would. Well, okay, let's see here before we go snapping this guy in half. Try to get a little print on this side over here. Let's continue to try to get a little print on this side. Oh. Okay, so we got some step fractures. Come on, dude. What your deal is? Alright, let's see. There it is. Stubborn little sucker. Alright. This dude needs a little sharpening up. Man, if you guys are enjoying this content, I really would appreciate if you guys would like, give a thumbs up, because it can really help the algorithm continue to reach you guys with my content. I'm not a super technologically type of person, but I am learning the things slowly. Most people, when they see me, don't typically see me doing technologically type things. They usually see me doing things like what you're watching me do right now. It's like this, or gardening, or mining, or, you know. But unfortunately, for me to share it with you guys, I have to learn this technologically stuff. I mean, unless one day I just afford a cameraman or something, but I guess it's possible. All things are possible. Okay, I think I'm gonna smack that with indirect though. Am I? No, I don't think so, actually. The only one that actually knows what I'm going to do is God, because most of the time I don't even know what I'm going to do until I'm doing it. Apparently my 5-year-old son has this same impulse control issue. Come on, bro. Looks like I for sure should hit that spot with indirect, because I think right here, running this ridge, it's low enough that I should be able to hopefully come in and do something like that. we'll see. Maybe I'll throw it less if I start doing it like this. Maybe, I don't know. Okay, where did it go? Right there. Alright. Ah! I'm gonna throw it when I'm not even holding it. There we go. Okay. It didn't work. Alright, let's try it again. Cool. It did do it specifically. Right there. Right over the center ridge and everything. I'm going to do a few more, but I'm not actually trying to drive flakes. I mean, I am, but not long flakes like that. Yep, that didn't work. This one I'm going to go for a little longer flake, hopefully. Oh, it dove in really bad. I was kind of hoping that it would push through, but it did not. It did no such thing. Let's see here. Come on, dude. Well, let's see if we can drive one right through. So there's a little bit of a ridge right here between where those two step fractures meet. I don't know if the low point is going to be good enough for it, but we're going to try it. I mean, it's got a little lowness there. Maybe we'll just give it a little. Brush with the coarse abrader, followed up with the mild grinding of the edge with the fine abrader. Mild as in grind the heck out of it. Okay. You might have done it. Sweet. Alright, maybe I'll be able to get, if I can set everything up just right, get the majority of the rest of this horrible area that I've built up here from the base. But first, we're going to have to flake the opposite direction to get close enough, if we have any desire of doing that at all. What's happening here? That did not benefit me at all. All I did was just did a massive series of step fractures right there. But that flake worked out really well. So maybe now we can kind of do the same thing right here that we're about to do in the back. And run that platform into the side of the series of step fractures that I've made here, so, and remove it, maybe. Don't really know until you try, huh? Guess maybe I should have looked as I was doing all that instead of just going for it and assuming that it was all good. Sweet. Got it. Still, if I can drive this off from the base, then maybe I can grind down and remove some of this original scarring here. I can definitely do some of it from this direction though, if I'm careful. Just lightly grind, bevel this edge a little bit to give me a good platform. I think so. Lightly bevel it, remember, lightly grind it. I'm grinding the heck out of it, just in case you can't tell. I think though I'm going to try to start up here and work my way back. It just looks like that's going to be the better entry point. And here's some of that original flake scarring right here, and it's just really low there, but you can kind of see the whole area is really low from here to there anyhow. And I've got to start somewhere, but I'm afraid if I start back here for some reason, it's just not going to work out. So I'm going to start up there. Right, specifically there. I'm even going to grind that a little better on the face of it, more directly. Okay. I'm really going to be pushing, I don't know if you can tell it, force into the piece. Whoosh. I mean, it's down and in. It did. It moved up in. To that original flake scarring, so I don't know if... Hello, camera. So I don't know if you can tell, but it came all the way to here. It took out that whole section. It didn't go halfway or as far as I'd like it to have. But it at least got hopefully an entry point. Now I can just keep moving down the line back this way. Hopefully with kind of deeper and deeper strikes, really, to take more and more. There we go. The first strike, I just barely had the tip of it on there. The second strike, I actually moved the tip of the workpiece. The first strike, I was just barely on it, like this. But the second piece, I actually moved it up and got the more rounded part of the very first. I just had the very tip of it on there. Then I moved the rounded part here onto the edge for the second strike. First strike didn't do anything, but the second strike, it did exactly what we wanted it to. It fanned out. It took a lot of that out. It even moved over center, over halfway, which would probably be about right there. So it didn't go far over halfway, and then it got into that, quite a bit more of that original flake scarring, because now all we got left is this little section there and then over here. But that should all be easily removed with pressure flaking. And of course the whole tip still has the original flake scarring, but we'll get there. And so does this section here. Alright, let's see if we can move into this. It shifted everything this way, but I'm still grinding because it didn't quite. It's just not quite giving me the platform that I want. I'm probably gonna have to pop a little section of that off with pressure here. Where's my leather? Okay, here it is. To get the proper angle that I'm looking for here. Let's take a whole series through there. That definitely turned. So what we were facing a second ago was there was a little bulb sticking over more on this side. And I'm wanting to come in for this. And so I'm really needing to shove that whole platform that direction and get it real low into there. And that's a lot better. But I'm still going to grind it one more time now. I'm using the coarse abrader, flaking away from the side, you know, because the more material that you take going the opposite direction moves your platform this way. So I think that's pretty much what we want as far as moving it over. Now I'm going to grind it. Now when I'm grinding it, I don't just do it straight on. I usually do it with the angle. If you can see, I'm actually grinding with an angle like that into the angle that I've just made. So that I'm actually helping grind what I've just created flat. With the same angle. Not flat, but flattening my angle. I don't know how to explain it. Making the angle that's already existing, the flat part of that angle flatter. and stiffer. Okay, I wiped my dust off, so now I can't see my platform as well. If I leave that white dust on there, then you can kind of see your platform really well. But if I wipe it off with my fingers like I do sometimes. Okay. So I think what I'm going to do is, instead of just coming all the way down in here where, whoa, instead of coming all the way down here to the lowest point where all these step fractures already exist running into it, I'm actually going to come over here to this little bit of a higher point and skim off some over here. Dang it, can't stay in there. Skim off some over here first before I try to attempt to come over here. You know, a lot of times when I do something like this, it might actually handle the whole thing coming over here because it fans out and takes a larger flake. Because if I strike right in here, oftentimes I just find that it crushes and just makes this whole step fractured area worse. So I'm going to come over here where it's a little thicker and I've got a little more meat to work with. It's still lower than the center line, and often seems like it just performs better for me. But this is where I won't set the tip like where I did earlier, and I set the edge of the tip up there and really whacked it. I won't here. I'll just set, because I'm already on so much, there's already so much more meat there to grab onto. I'm gonna use the copper to really highlight what I'm working with here. Highlight my platform with the copper. Yeah, see there? So I've already got so much more meat there that I'm not gonna put as much of the tool up on the edge. Let's see, where do I want to hit? I think what I want to do is that. This is dangerous. This could very well snap the tip right off. Especially if you don't support it well. I'm struggling to see. Oh. Took a flake, and it did just literally skim off. You can see where the flake terminated here, so it did skim just this whole area here. So hopefully it's gonna work basically like I hoped. We took that off. It didn't widen out and take the whole thing like I was talking about, but it did my original plan, and it grooved out a section here, and now this is even lower, and you know, it's kind of like a release. I don't think you've seen any of that. Anyhow, it's because I'm zoomed in and I'm not used to it. It took a narrow flake right kind of where I wanted to and isolated everything over, making this point now lower, kind of acting as like a release flake, really, in hopes that this will now release easier, that it doesn't have so much other stuff kind of potentially hindering it. Let's make sure we've got it as ground as possible, so it's not going to be less chances of crushing, hopefully. I really don't want it to step fracture worse. I really want it to just drive up in there and remove all that. So, and I am going to set my the tip of my tool a little further up on there this time. I think it did. It did leave a little ugly step fracture further up the piece there. However, it got us way up in there, and it looks like I can probably come over now from this side maybe and finish it. Kind of ground a little too much there. Okay. I better be careful, because if I get to over explaining myself too much, I'm just going to screw everything up. Okay. But at least I got to slow it down for you guys and show you a few things. So it's what we wanted. I just attacked the rest of it from a low point that I made on that side over there. Brought everything together. I don't like how deep it is right there, but that actually came in from this side more than anything. That helped to smooth it out. Let's see. Try to just do a few last little, let's see, what am I doing? Actually, I should probably come back this other way real quick. Come on. Let me just get back on top of this thing here. Mostly what I'm doing right now is just putting flake scars on the opposite side here. I mean, it's helping shape it too, but I'm just adding all those little ridges over there, and I need to do, I'm going to sharpen this again. We're up to an hour, and it's because I'm talking a lot. But hopefully it gives you guys little pointers on platform preparation. I mean, if you already know the things, then you're just probably here watching me anyhow, and you wish I would shut up and just flint nap. But if you're in here watching and learning, then hopefully it's helpful. Cool. Whew, I got my hoodie on because I walked my boys to the bus this morning. And that hoodie's about to have to come off. I ain't even notching it. I'm about to be sweating. Sorry guys, I gotta do this. Whew. Back on. Okay. And my glasses. I was like, wow, I can't see magically. Okay, let's just braid this a couple different directions. On this one side that has the curve happening, because we know the curve has to go away, and it'll just reveal to us what platforms and direction the point wants to go and all the things. Doesn't matter, because on this side we need markings on both sides of the very tip, so okay, we're just gonna give it another little braid away from us and continue with that patterning on the opposite side. It's so thin I don't know that it'll run pattern all the way across for sure. So let's go back here and work my low points back up to this point again. Okay. Now I'll braid completely away from it this time, and maybe try to bring some pattern back this direction if the piece allows for it. So we've almost, it's just literally just a hair bit of that left, and it step fractured there. Wish maybe I'd have tried to push a little harder, but I think maybe I can just lightly abrade and lightly abrade, and maybe let's do it one more time and one more time. Let's see if I can. So I've caused that low point there, and maybe I can use that to catch up to it. Maybe. We shall see. I mean, it looks promising, but let's get high enough up on the deal there. I'm gonna try to roll this over to where it's on the ball of my thumb, so that I don't have it over here and cause too much. Whoa, you can't see. And cause, because if I do this, I may cause too much pressure and snap the tip off. But if I roll it over to where the point of my contact is more on the ball of my thumb, maybe it won't cause. So now it's got a little support from the leather, but if the point was on the ball of my thumb, it'd be causing up pressure and then probably snap the piece right there. So And then I'm just supporting it a lot of pressure in the back there and allowing for hopefully just a good solid flake removal. I mean, it did a good flake removal, but it definitely didn't do the thing that we were shooting for. Alright, so now we've caused low points all through here, which is great because we need some marking here. So we're just gonna got quite a bit of marking there. Can't hardly see it. Let's try to get this last little. Okay, before we get crazy, I'm going to kind of brush this away from that so that I can maybe remove some of, I guess I'm going to have to zoom out. I can always hold it up here. I did it so you could see. I'm going to try to remove some of that now off that low side. I mean, this was a tiny flake in the first place, so it's working out pretty well, I think. There just wasn't a whole lot of material in this thing from the get-go. I wasn't intending on making it all triangle-y, though, honestly. But it is what happened. Cool. Kind of just flake it away from that just a little bit. And then come right back in and flake. That didn't work out great. Because there's that whole area right there was like a big bevel, or a concavity rather, I guess, and you really can't send flakes up something that's concave. It really has to be convex. And so what it did was it just left a bunch of these little jigsaw tooth markings here, and it did not run up, and then we just left a ridge. So unfortunately, it's just kind of how the physics of this works, and so you're always trying to just come up with different ways to work around that. But sometimes we can't. And right there would have been fine. I should have done the first set of little flakes on the side over there like that. But then when it came to the base, I shouldn't have just came over here and just tried to run these flakes from the end all willy-nilly I should have actually set up a platform then and ran that ridge. And instead, I just ran a bunch of little rink-a-dink flakes and ended up with step fractures. And pretty much almost ruined any chance of sorry, I'm just thinking. Ruined any of my chances of removing that little ridge now. But yeah, it's because I didn't put any thought, intention, or power behind these little flakes from the end. I just ran these little flakes, pop, 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 turn the corner, pop, 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 and then there we are. But had I ran these, pop, 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 and almost helped isolate this, and then came around here, ground, prepared a platform, and blasted one through there, or even indirect percussion, I could have taken that out. But now I really haven't left myself with. I know everything looks low over here, but it's. I mean, maybe. I don't know. Maybe. We'll try something, but I don't know if it'll work. Because really, it's not going to work going from this platform here. From this one's definitely not going to work. It's too thin. It's definitely going to crush. But maybe if I come in from this lower side here, it might. It's all still pretty thin, and I'm afraid if I grind it too much, it's just not going to do the thing anyhow. So grind away my whole platform. We can try it. It's always worth a shot, I guess. You don't think? Yeah, I think I just didn't make it worse, but it didn't make it really better. Just probably gonna deal with it. Unfortunately, it'll make it a nightmare for notching. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. well. Slippery little guy. Maybe if I do this. Sometimes just scratching up that surface and giving that steel something to stick to helps. Yep, there we go. Nice. That's what I was hoping for. Would have been cool if it traveled a little further, but hey, I'm not gonna complain too much. Alright, what do we need here? So it looks like now we can brush this round part down away from us and use it to come back on these step fractures, hopefully. So that's gonna be my goal. And then from there we should be in pretty good shape, I think. So doesn't seem to really be working fully like I want it to. Of course, it never usually does, and that's okay. So let's just start right here where it went lower. I'm not fully sure what it's got going on, but it's definitely has a plan of its own. But I also have a plan of my own that I'm trying to accomplish here. So I'm kind of whoa, that was close. I'm kind of flaking this differently. I'm almost doing a weird pull down angle, but it worked. It got us kind of rounded over there, and now I'm going to braid against it again like I did the first time, and it looks like it's working. Okay, I'm gonna have to gently do that too hard, because then it'll just okay. Hopefully this is still pretty sharp. I don't know, man. Okay, we're gonna have to do that. Scratch up the surfacey thing again right here. Again, I'm not doing this grinding to stiffen the edge. The edge is actually already way stiffer than it needs to be, but my piece keeps slipping off. And so I'm scratching the edge to give it a little grit. And that was the sound of many step fractures. Yes, yes it was. So that's all it was step fractures. Well, I'm going to sharpen for the 50th time. Probably leave those step fractures in. I'm going to sharpen this dude up. I think it's probably what we're going to go with. Sorry, guys. But especially on that tip work, I really I really need it to be sharp. Oh. not even fully to a point yet, but it's already razor sharp. Okay, that's very sharp. Alright. Continue to sharpen the edge. Sharpen and even it up. Get out of my finger, bro. Okay. Dude, I don't think that thing shrunk hardly at all. Definitely maximized this flake. Maximized the length of it. Maybe I'll name this one Flint Knapping Super Thin Flake. Cool, man, that thing is pretty legit. Okay, guys, I'm gonna call it there.